Welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Jordan. Introduce yourself.
No, I'll introduce him.
Introduce him
I don't
now.
let a man speak unless I give him permission.
Sit down and listen, okay?
We're joined by the very, very special guest, Josh Scherer of Mythical Kitchen. Wait a minute.
I feel like I can't speak until Jordan gives me express permission. Jordan, may I speak?
Hold on. Go ahead.
Shut up!
I didn't say nothing, man.
All right.
Okay, now
Go
you're allowed
ahead.
to talk.
The vibes
man.
before we recorded were so good, and now it's so aggressive.
Well, that was when we
It's a
respected
gotcha.
you, but now performatively we don't respect you.
Now explain why you said drunk driving should be okay.
I
in the
didn't say that.
pre-show.
What I did say, no,
Cut
hear
the
me
mic.
out. If you, I said non-alcoholic beer. I should be able to drink one athletic light, 0.5% alcohol on my way home from work. That's it. That's it.
Non-alcoholic beer has alcohol.
I think a small percentage. A lot
It's
of
like decaf coffee has like a small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
At
So
some
I
point, they
should drink more of
stopped
them.
carding to buy kombucha, though, which I appreciate. The early days of kombucha, they would card you.
I was tricked. I was told by my friend, it was a non-hard kombucha, you know, trace alcohol essentially. And I was given like 4 by my friend. I'm like, we're getting twisted. I'm like, this tastes really bad. It must be 5%.
Right. I must be getting something else out of this. This must be healthy or getting me.
And then my 21-year-old ass they go like, oh no, it's the probiotic.
You got tricked into good gut health. Suck it, nerd.
I don't need it. I super did. I
Josh,
sitting
how you
on
doing?
toilet.
I'm doing great, man. I mean, you have a wonderful home. I'm obsessed with your dog. I'm
Yeah, he's
stealing
the
Dipper.
best.
The dog's obsessed with you.
I know. We are match made in heaven.
He is down to play after this, you know. So
He is an enthusiastic, friendly, jacked dog. You two align up pretty well, actually.
That is the type of person that I try to seek out in my life.
Thank you.
Know? Yeah. Well,
Thank you so much.
friendly and
both of
jacked.
you,
Yes.
That actually means so much.
Up top, I want to say that you've got a live show coming up. Maybe the people know you from your beautiful concoctions, your brilliant foodie mind on Mythical Kitchen, Last Meals, etc. And you guys have a live show.
we do. It is called Survive the Mythical Kitchen, April 3rd, 7 p.m. Go to mythicalkitchenlive.com to get tickets. The idea is that I have been put through the ringer over the last 5-6 years, shooting everything in Mythical Kitchen, seeing if I can break the world record for most baby food eaten in a minute, trying to cook 100 Japanese
that,
omelets in
babies.
a row.
Right.
And I did get it for a bit, and then it got taken away from me.
The Japanese omelets are the ones where you have to keep. You can't stop whipping.
Omurice?
Like omurice, yeah. And then
yeah.
you slice it and then it goes.
We had the brilliant idea to see if I could become an expert in that just by doing it 100 times in a row, and it
Right.
sounded super cool, but then it's like, you know, a 10-hour shoot day and I'm like sweating and there's like arthritis developing in my wrist. So anyways,
Right.
I am now taking that abuse and I'm sort of putting that on the shoulders of all 4 of my on-screen compatriots and culinary producers, the Mythical Kitcheneers. And so I'm running them through their hardest test ever to try and crown the ultimate Mythical Kitcheneer at the end. We have a grand prize. It's actually a really sick grand prize.
An HR manager comes out and chooses who to fire.
Exactly.
It's you.
Basically. But no, it's going to be really sick. And I'm really excited. We've never done anything like this before.
I think it'll be so fun.
What was the genesis of this? Was it just maybe the 98th omurice?
You were like thinking, which of my coworkers do I want to eliminate?
Big time. Yeah. Huge resentment. Watch Squid Games once and just like.
Oh, so
that's
the
a good
Mr.
idea.
Beast effect.
Yeah, literally. I was
Yeah.
like, maybe we should be him.
You didn't
right.
finish the season. You were like, I love the outfits.
Maybe everything
What
I need
happens
to
at the end of
do.
the season?
I think he's the best at it.
Hell yeah.
He
I
does
think what
such
we
a cool
learned is
haircut.
that Squid Game is good. I think.
It's epic, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped Fight Club halfway through and was like, guys, we got to start something now.
I'm like, I'll tell you what it is.
American Psycho, Rick and Morty, all things where I didn't get the gist. Or I got the gist, and all I got was that there was a cool guy.
Yeah, I should shave my head.
And now his poster's on my
Speaking
wall.
of American Psycho, there is now an elite restaurant reservation app called Dorsia. You guys know this?
Weird.
Yeah. And I was like, it's either the worst name or the best name.
Yeah. Would you like the cat shoved into an ATM? Like, whoa.
I got into beef with a guy who would use a bot to like messages matches on Tinder, and he would use lines from American Psycho. And I said it was creepy, and then he approached me at a party and said that he disagreed with me.
What is with? I get it. I get.
And you
that,
can find out about that on our Patreon.
I guess if you have limited time, or like, and it's the cringiest phrase at this point, but poor media literacy, or more accurately, a bias towards wanting a Patrick Bateman style mindset to be a good thing. It's like if Fight Club was called Me and My Nazi Friends. It's called American Psycho.
American bad guy.
Yeah.
But I want to be a bad guy.
American restaurant goer.
Yeah.
Ooh, sounds kind of good.
So there's an this guy's mentioned in the article that your friends have been sending you, but we actually did a episode about him last year.
It is this guy.
Yeah, the Donut Daddy.
Donut Daddy. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've checked in on the Donut Daddy lately.
No, I haven't. Like, I feel like there's a period maybe a year and a half ago. Like, my wife would just send me videos of his just being like, you should do this too.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when I watch these guys, I feel like you are maybe better suited to do it than even they are.
To what end though, Jarvis?
You're always licking your lips. when
Maybe
you're
I'm
on the
just like,
show.
I'm just trying to like lure you into making content that I want. Okay, wait,
It would
Jacob,
be
we have a
funny
list.
to do a bad job.
Yeah.
Be doing it and like, oh,
It's kind of. He makes really beautiful food, especially pastry.
That's what I wanted to get your opinion on because he's definitely exhibiting skill.
Yeah, 100%.
Josh, do you have anything drawing your eye that we should take a peek at?
Yeah, there's that like millefeuille. Jacob, just click on the
Jacob, just
millefeuille.
click on the
millefeuille.
The millefeuille.
Yes.
Sorry, the Napoleon.
Right.
The three layered. It's got 3.6 million views. Yeah, like that's a very technical, tough pastry to pull off.
Oh, yeah,
I'm curious to watch.
Yeah, let's see it.
To watch him do this.
Tearing
Making a rough
stuff's
stuff.
always
He's got a
weird.
good pump going on. Using a French rolling pin, laminating the dough.
Yeah, you think there's
This
a
is
couple-
all very tough.
I think there's some burpees before the camera goes on. You know what I mean?
I
Really
have
get it
dumbbells in
moving.
my office that I'll get a pump on before I shoot
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, when he starts fingering the eggs,
Making a little
is that
creme
like
pat.
is that a culinary technique?
Does that help? Yeah.
No. I mean, this is all.
Ooh. Oh, dude, are you guys ever making out with someone and then you scrape them with a big metal comb thing?
So, do you know where the term food porn comes from?
This?
Like the,
No, this is a beautiful example of food porn. Food porn is defined as the erasure of process of ultimately domestic labor. It was a second wave feminist term coined in the mid 80s in like an academic paper. But it was describing at the time these like women's life magazines that would have these beautiful spreads of crazy dinners that would probably take 16 hours to cook.
Right.
And then saying, look at how easy this recipe is, buy this magazine.
Right.
The term erasure of process, they call this like viennoiserie, is making laminated pastry dough. So croissants, Queen Amman, all that stuff, puff
Right.
pastry. That is such a difficult skill and technique that people take years and years and years to master. And he is doing an incredible job of a baker, 1,000-year-old profession, doing a beautiful job at it. But this erase it down to 32 seconds,
Right.
and then sexualizes it in. Would you call this playing to the female gaze, or no? Is this still male gaze? Just
I think it's the craft of the male gaze is
I
so
think
much
it's
more
the
established.
idea
Yeah.
of the female gaze.
It's-
I think it's like it's the perceived female
Yeah,
gaze.
I think the female gaze often is a term that's misapplied to the female demographic.
correct. Yeah,
And I think that's like, because like really, we
Because
just
most-
don't have 100 years of
Sure.
cinematic language for not boys.
Most women I know are responding like Soph here, who says, "Mom, I'm scared."
yeah. No, that's a fair point.
But it is like, I think don't get me wrong, I think there are tons and tons and tons of people like this. And I think it's just that like a lot of the time, if somebody's commenting on anything, it's going to default to a position of what gets me the most likes, usually going to be something critical or engaged in that way.
Yeah.
Most people are like who like it are going like, this is great. And then scrolling. I think the presentation taking wild swings on something I'm interested in, but not heavily educated on. I didn't go to film school though. The presentation of this in all female gaze would probably lean into authenticity.
Mm-mm.
That's the presentation that I think, because the exhaustion, it can be so exhausting for some people about male gaze default is that it's dull, it's familiar,
Yeah.
it's like it's constantly draining away that authenticity. And I think, what was the term you used for like
erasure of process.
I think process and
Yeah.
like meticulous focus is something you don't get a lot, and that might be closer to at least how you can cynically do the female.
What did you say this was called? Because he hashtagged it. Mefoy or something?
Oh, yeah, Milfoy.
Milfoy.
Yeah, Milfoy.
Yeah, it's hashtag Milfoy.
Yeah. Wait, can we watch one more video, Jacob? Can we watch
No,
one
we
more?
can watch
Please,
plenty.
Jacob,
No,
one more.
we're gonna watch.
Come
Jacob,
on.
please don't delete all the videos. Jacob, stop it. No, Jacob.
There's
keeps
another.
saying we
Oh,
have
that
to-
one, 2.9 million views. It's called a croquembouche. All the way to the left, it's like a pyramid,
far
a
left,
tattle,
yeah.
like a Mayan pyramid. That one, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, he's just like a vampire.
Yeah, so he's making what's called patashu right there. Well, there he's ejaculating some food.
Tell us about that technique. Oh, yeah, what's your technique?
Take your dick out of the bowl.
Yeah, what's this technique called? Does it have a fancy French name?
Yeah, well, so this is called patashu, but it's the same dough that you use to make like churros, actually.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so he's making cream puffs or what's the French word for cream puff? That was probably isomalt, which is a type of sugar that's liquid at a really low temp. And then you're supposed to create this like isomalt sugar cage and spun sugar around this. This is maybe the notoriously hardest like French pastry to pull off in certain regards.
I could do it, but yeah.
So this guy's like technically very like skilled.
100%. And I would venture a guess. I mean, y'all know this. When you start making content, you sort of, it tends towards extremes,
Right.
From both
Absolutely.
the consumption and the production of it.
Yeah.
I would bet if you went back to this dude's first videos, he was like,
Hey guys, today I'm gonna do a really
Correct.
complicated French pastry.
yes.
I also don't want to
And
like.
probably wearing like a t-shirt that was a little tight.
And then
he
they
gets
were
2
like,
comments.
"Ooh, nipple daddy,"
Yes.
and then he was
Yes.
like, "Oh, hold on." And then he wears a shirt where the nipples are cut out.
And
he's like,
now
"Is this
he's
what
the
you
nipple
like?"
daddy.
Right.
I think it does get like sometimes it's very easy to. Some people will default to like begrudging this kind of content for the same reason, like silently for. He's kind of trying. Is he trying a bit much? Doesn't he seem to care an awful lot about that thing? And that's like, you know, something that a lot of guys get criticized for,
Yeah.
and a lot of people get criticized for. It's funny how I guarantee a good handful of people that you can't deny how good he is at this.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to go like, well, but I don't like his hair.
From a food safety standpoint, are we upset at all that he's like not wearing a shirt?
No, man.
Okay, cool.
Oh my God. Have either of you worked in a restaurant kitchen?
No.
Jesus Christ. Anytime
have I?
I won't wear gloves in a video or something because one, you wearing gloves isn't even safer because you're more likely to get cross-contamination because you'll touch one raw ingredient with the glove and you don't wash your gloves with soap.
Right.
So anyways, but I'll do something on camera that people will be like, that's not food safe. And I'll be like, I'm cooking it for me and my friends and they're all watching.
Yeah.
I worked in like a catering company where we had a code red where if we saw the health inspector drive up in the security cameras, we said code red and we'd hide all of our violations in a closet and have someone keep guard.
Right.
Like if you've ever eaten in a restaurant, you have eaten some sort of horribly mishandled food.
Right.
And I don't care about your own plausible deniability that you didn't know what's going on. And suddenly you see a TikTok of me, cutting vegetables that are going to get cooked on the same cutting board as chicken. And then you feel the need to comment on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes
you're
sense.
I think it's like it sucks not having agency in things. It like sucks to not feel like you have some expertise in the things you're doing.
Half the time it feels like people just want to comment about something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Nice
so-
job cooking.
Which, yeah, you have to run that filter through. The most interesting comment that you'll get, I bet Donut Daddy gets this a lot, but even on some of my own stuff where someone goes, you just did this for attention. Like, yes, it's the only way I know how to make money now.
Making
Wait,
content
that's
for
like
views,
the
huh?
entire industry of content.
The attention economy, yeah.
You just me commenting on the Severance season finale. You just did this for attention.
Me watching Good Mythical Morning, we're like, you guys are talking a lot.
Yeah. Wow. I can't believe you guys think someone wants to look at your faces on camera.
But yeah, I will say it has been really soul fulfilling for me to do things not for attention now. Like just
Yeah.
cook for myself
Yeah.
and my friends and not take a single photo of it.
Oh, it's the best.
Not post it.
There's always a tiny
God.
part of me that's like, okay, I love video games, love game design, and I do. At one point, I did enjoy streaming. What if I just got into that and I go like, wait, no, this has to be for me.
Yeah, keep it
I
inside.
can't give that away because then all of a sudden, like our friend Keenan, he streams every single day and he does game streams and he goes long and he puts a lot of work into the prep for these streams. And I'm playing through the same game he's playing right now. I'm having a great time. We're texting about it. And I mentioned a part of it, and he's like, "Oh, I'll have to try that out tomorrow," because he can't do it right now. He's
Yeah,
not
you're
streaming.
not allowed
He has
to
to
do
wait
it.
for the thing.
That's the funny thing. Like, I feel like most of my hobbies now are things that I don't show. And then sometimes people who, you know, are peers of ours will be like, oh, well, would you ever make content out of that?
Yeah.
I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
like, because this is for me.
Yep.
I get, like, for example, like, I have a lot of Pokemon cards and, like, I do a lot of, like, Pokemon collecting and stuff. And there is a huge, some would say too big, emphasis now on opening packs on camera and, like, making a whole thing out of that. And people are, like, selling the pack. They're, like, opening boxes and selling the packs before they open them and doing live streaming on Whatnot and TikTok Live and stuff like that. And I have absolutely no interest in any of that, because if I were to do it for work, it would take away for me, it's about the connection to my childhood and, like, just, like, things that just genuinely bring me joy and happy memories and things like that. And to turn it into something I could dread.
Dude, I'm doing wrong.
know?
I'm doing my hobby
At the
wrong.
end of the day, it's like, no matter how fun your job is, you're going to wake up some days and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's more fulfilling to cook for other people, though, right?
Oh,
Do you have a
100%,
compromise when you're kind of cooking for yourself? That's like less of a...
Big time. Yeah,
Less
when I'm
fulfilling.
cooking for myself, I cook like healthy, nutrient-dense, spicy slop bowls in ways I still put a certain amount of effort in to make it taste good. But, like, cooking for other people and actually, like, it's such a beautiful, tangible thing. This weird mantra that keeps running around in my head in this increasingly digital, weird hellscape that we live in. I read a lot of cyberpunk growing up. It's just like the meat is important. Being here with your physical bodies is important. Reading people's body language, like the meat is important.
Yeah,
In a lot
absolutely.
of ways, and being able to actually, like, watch somebody eat and consume your food, feel that gratitude, right? Exist within that presence. It's like, it's beautiful, and it's something that I miss, even, you know, cooking on camera. So it's been nice.
Eating alone, or actually, I guess more accurately, like, I never grew up with like everyone sits at the dinner table for dinner type
Yeah, me
scenario. It
neither.
doesn't sound like any of us did, but I've been doing that here and there lately, and the dynamic of now, if I eat and if we're all planning to, like, sit at the coffee table, one time we'll stop and go like, no, let's just sit at the dining table. Sitting at the coffee table feels like cyberpsychosis. That feels like you took too many mods and it has, like, taken over your brain.
What goes in a spicy slot bowl? I must ask.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so yesterday I made a spicy slot bowl. I did a ton of, like, kind of meal prep stuff on Sunday where I just made like 4 different sauces from scratch. So I made like an avocado srug. I made a morita. It's like a Yemeni hot sauce, super herby. I made a like a morita chili harissa, a North African hot sauce. And then I did like a tzatziki, and then almost like a muta ball, so like an eggplant thing. I love spicy Middle Eastern food, Mexican food, Southeast Asian food, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had all of that. And so then yesterday I was pressed for time. So I took a half pound of ground chicken. I threw in a pan with like a quarter of a head of cabbage for, you know, nutrients. And then just like a half a cup of rice, cooked it in a pan till it was done. And then I could add all of my delicious spicy condiments that I'd, you know, made on Sunday
Right.
to, you know, spice up the slop.
Yeah.
You were your
That makes
own,
sense.
like, prep chef or
Literally,
prep cook,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're like, oh, thank you, me.
And Sunday I had a ton of research to do for Last Meal's guests. And so I just like plugged in, you know, podcasts that they did 7 years ago, and for like 4 or 5 hours just cooked a bunch of food. And then I generally cook. My wife was out of town for work, and I cook for her every night. And so that's what keeps me like making presentable,
Right. And also
delightful-looking
connected
things.
to, like, the feeling of cooking for leisure and for someone that you care about.
Yeah.
You know, that's really sweet.
One tricky that tricky thing about, like, when someone cooks for you, though, or vice versa, and both parties want to be effusive. Like, thank you so much for the food. Well, thank you so much for it.
Thank you
It's
so
probably
much for
like
it.
good. I mean, thank
Honestly.
you for having it. Like, no, thanks for having me here.
In Iran, they call it tarofing.
What's that?
Grew up around a lot of Persian Jews. This idea of just like, oh, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Oh,
No,
right.
thank you.
And
No,
now
I
you're-
insist. No, now
you're
I
at
insist.
war.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Counterpunch.
Let me put your kids through college. What are we looking at here? Cedrik Lorenzen.
Much more chefy.
Okay, so talking about, though, there's a reason they're making pastries and they're not. I mean, I know they get into savory food sometimes, but like there's a gender split on YouTube of like savory chefs and pastry chefs, and even in kitchens there's a gender segregation. They call the pastry kitchen the pink ghetto because women get relegated there all the time.
Whoa.
They're like, hey, get off the line. You can't handle the heat. Go decorate cakes in
You
the
have a genetic instinct for this thing over here. It's more delicate.
Yeah.
Hey, you know.
I mean, you guys seen Jiro Dreams of Sushi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jiro got canceled. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh, he said that women can't be sushi chefs because their menstrual cycle heats their hands up, which will ruin the texture of the fish.
You agree with that?
No, I don't agree. But he's a
Jiro.
95-year-old Japanese man who spent his entire life trying to make the best octopus. I don't really think he has the most progressive gender
Exactly.
policy.
Right.
He just saw like a Facebook minion meme.
And he's like, actually so true.
But I think there is a reason that these sexy dude chefs are primarily making pastry and not just like hammering out smash burgers.
This is
Right.
very aesthetic.
Very.
Even thumbnail wise.
Let's pick one. Like Josh, what
does he
grabs your
got?
eye?
Keeps going. Okay, there's a beautiful pasta there. Let's see a savory one. Let's see what that pasta dish.
These are recorded inside a house. Instead
The pasta
of
Is that
dish
pasta or is that
2.1.
a yeah? Click it. See what he's working with.
See what he's working with. He'll show you.
Whoa,
XXL.
way too big. Way too big.
All right, too much time on that.
Oh, it's
I
just
think.
pasta.
Oh, is it the super long pasta though?
Oh, maybe.
It's XXL.
Is he going like what truffle? Oh,
He's taking that to
ISI. I don't like the technique he's going with. Well, morels are great.
Pasta. Another one. That was
Well,
pasta.
like, even like mushroom pasta is like a sexy dish.
Interesting.
I like this guy's setup though. Very industrial
It's a
kind of
home
setup.
instead of that like scary void that the other guys in.
Yeah, the other guy's in a dungeon.
Why did he spit the wine?
I don't
well, I know
know.
why he spit the wine,
He's
but
sober.
Wait.
Oh shit.
yeah. So he's using that super long spaghetti. Don't break it. You buy the long spaghetti so you don't break it, brother.
How you cooking that though?
What? Oh, you just gotta let it like gradually hold in the water.
Oh. Okay.
That looks like a really proper dish out of a Michelin-starred restaurant circa like 2006. And that's not a dig. That's just a very moment frozen in time, like the ISI Parmesan foam.
That kind of looks like the result because I get very like, no, it's actually cool to cook. I'm just a guy making steak. I get a good handful of those, and there's one really recently I've been getting, and it's like a real actual kitchen. It's just a guy that owns it, and it's shot
Wait,
very
Jacob,
few edits.
Can you go back to the? I wanted
Yeah.
to point out a comment. The here we have why he cleans. My favorite part is when he cleans. Every woman's dream.
Yeah.
Dude, I literally as soon as he did that, I'm like, oh, authentic.
Yeah. You film schooled it, bro. That's so funny.
I think it also helps that even it's clearly a very nice house, but it's lit organically by the house. Like it feels literally like, oh, I'm married to the sexiest man in the world, and I've walked in and he's cooking.
And that's what it must be like for your wife every day.
Oh,
Everybody say, "Oh."
Do you love her? Yes or no?
I really
Oh,
do.
he's shaking his head.
I do. I think
It's okay. You can talk.
yeah, I do cook shirtless most often just to save shirts, and also gets very hot in the kitchen.
Okay, that's
And she has bird bones, so she gets very cold easily. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I can't just
Women,
like
am I right, ladies?
100%.
Get out of the sushi kitchen. Just kidding, by the way.
Disagree with Josh on
Joking
that.
about Jiro.
Yeah. No, but I think she enjoys it. And for me, it's nice to feel like I can take care of somebody in one of my hyper-focused ways.
Yeah, no, that's
Where I can't book a plane ticket, though.
right.
I need to go see Jiro.
Was there another person that we had? A sexy chef?
What is Meat Couple? Let's see Meat Couple.
So this is Jacob's obsession. Jacob said he...
Well, I just have an opinion on it.
Oh, okay.
I
see.
would love to watch it.
This is like a couple... Well, how would you describe this, Jacob?
It's a couple that really is passionate about cuts of meat. And,
Interesting. Are they
grilled meats? This couple kind of like stirred some people's feelings on TikTok because of this specific video, I think.
I'm so curious.
What does it say, the text?
Oh my god.
People
People
our
are
age are
age-
out partying.
Then there's... Okay,
nice.
okay, guys.
Say, all right.
Oh my god.
It takes out the way.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm just like all meat and fat.
Wait,
on
what
the
were you
outside.
saying?
Don't worry about it.
That was funny.
Careful, man. It doesn't even need anything.
I'm full already.
I'm
Just looking
good,
at this, by
Jesus.
the way.
Do they have anything else?
Such an aggressive knife for that steak there.
He's got a machete.
Literally all meat right here. Also, it's a very...
This is literally all meat. Right there. That part.
Oh, the shimmy.
Turn the light on. What in the world? She's doing discus.
It's actually more similar to Hammer.
But
Oh.
she has a lot of videos on her account like this. I mean, there's lots of them.
What's your first reaction to that?
My first reaction was like, they seem just very sweet, like a couple in love, feeding each other, eating a pretty casual meal. And then my second reaction is, it's the observer effect.
Mm-hmm.
You're acting.
Right.
You're acting. We're all acting.
We're all
Anyone
acting.
you see is acting. They've set up the camera
Exactly.
to be that, and you can't just act natural when you know that those watching. We've made our own. But and then you go outside and everyone's filming everything all the time now. Then you act, and we've made our own social police state in the name of content.
The claim of authenticity
You know?
is eerie. There's something kind of, this is maybe too, there's something demonic about it where somebody says like, you know what it is? It's a wait staff being too friendly.
Yes.
Someone being like, hi, I'm happy. I called Spectrum yesterday, and the guy was very helpful, but he opened up, he sounded way too voice actor the whole time. He was like, hey, what's up? My name's David, and I am from Wisconsin. What's going on today? You getting some bad speeds? And I was like, I know you want to go home, so I don't want to do work. Relax, man.
Okay, so we want to get into like your background, Josh, but first, Jordan and I have had a bit of an obsession recently, so we're gonna play a little game. Are you a video gamer?
I am not a video gamer.
That is okay, because I am also gonna be bad at this. But Jordan before the show was telling me about Gamedle, which is like Wordle for identifying game box art.
I think that's perfect for me, having no context for any of them.
And I don't think, like, Jordan showed me one, and I was like, well, I couldn't in a million years tell you what that is.
Oh no, but under pressure, this is where it all falls away.
So that, and then the thing that I got into recently was just TimeGuessr.
What is TimeGuessr?
Like
TimeGuessr, it's like it shows you a photo in a place and time, and you have to use the context clues, kind of like GeoGuessr, to like guess about it. And I've played it 3 times, and that's it. And I was like, this is the most fun game I've ever played. Because I'm not good at anything.
Yeah.
But I'm decent at like deductive reasoning and knowing a little bit about a lot of stuff.
Oh. How do you feel? Do you have a, because you have your, well, actually, maybe this answers the question. I believe that you have mastercraft.
Which is fucking sucks, dude.
How comfortable, loser.
I'm jealous.
You don't even have my podcast. How do you feel about like outwardly, unironically just saying like, yes, I am very good at this thing? Is it something you mitigate?
Ooh.
You're like a humble guy, I feel.
How do you deal with praise?
I used to always like defer and demure praise, but then I started trying to like put myself in the other person's shoes,
right?
And realizing that I'm then negating I'm negating a gift that somebody's trying to give me, right?
It is a gift, yeah.
And instead I should just like receive that and say, thank you so much. However, when you start doing that, when you do that face to face with one person, it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
They've given you something, you've received it. It's beautiful. There's no quid pro quo. On the internet though, if you just say something like, yes, this is something I've worked very hard at and I am very good at it, and I think it's one of the reasons that millions of people do watch me do it. But if you're to say that out loud, I understand the irony of me saying this on the internet right now. If you say that out loud, then people are just like, you arrogant piece of crap, how dare you?
Dude, yeah.
And so
I'm watching you do it.
Yeah.
But it's because
it's better than I could do it. But how dare you identify that? Because it makes me feel inadequate.
Shaking my head at
100%.
the Olympics.
Again, it's this weird paradox. And also I'm always generally mindful of when I use the phrase people, as in people say, because what I actually mean are like 15 comments out of a million people.
The 1%
right?
of the one, like the fraction of a percent who leaves a YouTube comment, the fraction of that percent that leaves a negative comment occupy a disproportionate amount of space
100%.
in my perception of the world.
Yes. People
how the world feels about me.
Statistically speaking, can't meet. Like just numbers wise, I couldn't find a person that feels that way. And I'm like, I can't even go.
Oh,
to the
that's a great
gallery.
way to think about it. Statistically, it would be very difficult to go out in the real world and find that person because of how rare they are.
And then find one of them willing to say it like the chance of that, it's literally like if I was just like, I saw the comment, I'm like, I don't know about Jordan's hairline. I'm like, I can't even go to the Americana anymore. What if they see me?
I don't know about Jordan. I feel like, all right, well,
I don't know.
I think your hairline's great.
I like your hairline.
I think I encountered one person in real life. This could be me projecting, but I was in Austin, Texas, waiting for food from a food truck. And this guy next to me just goes, "Hey, you Josh from Mythical Kitchen?" I go, "Yeah, hey, how you doing?" He has his arms crossed and he goes, "Yeah, I've seen your stuff."
Owned.
And I was like, oh my God, that might be the one guy. Either that or he was just a little bit socially awkward and that was
Right.
his attempt at like a cool interaction.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, I was like, I felt no type of way about it, but I was like, I think I may have.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not into what you do. Like
I
some
get a
kind
lot
nerd.
so this is something I've started reflecting on. I get a surprising amount of my girlfriend is a big fan.
Oh.
So
from men.
step off, pal.
Right. And so like part of me is like, but that's also what I would say if I was a fan and didn't want to seem like I was too much of a fan. Hey, my brother loves your stuff.
Dude, I met someone who likes you. He showed me it. Not my shit, obviously.
Right. I would never earnestly enjoy something publicly.
Oh my God, dude, I wouldn't be enthusiastic. Are you
No,
crazy? I'm not a
impossible.
girl.
That's interesting because I feel like both of you are so earnest insofar as like you develop an audience based on sort of what you put out. And I think that's fairly true. I would think that your fans would be into the idea of earnestness, or is that not? Is that
I would say that's
oversimplifying?
absolutely true, and everyone's really polite. I just think that there's a certain insecurity that everyone's shy. A lot of our fans are shy, which is like I kind of get that because I won't say a friend of mine likes your stuff, but I will kind of if I go I don't want to bother them, or I say hey, big fan of your stuff. Or in the case of Seth Rogen, who I saw at that chain event that we were at.
Oh yeah.
My friend Linus had just done a shoot with him. Like he's a film photographer, and like in his house, and he had posted the photos, and I was like, okay, I could say, hey, my friend worked with you recently, and he really enjoyed working with you.
Yeah.
And it's nice to meet you, or something like that. And so like I went for that angle, and he was very nice.
Nice.
But I couldn't have just been like, Seth Rogen, I like you from the stuff.
Hey,
All the stuff I've seen you in.
Remember Judd Apatow?
Yeah.
Waiting for him to try to hold his hand. No, you hear me? I said, remember. Come back. Come on, man. 40 virgins? Whatever.
He wasn't that. Yeah.
He was in
That's
40
right. Smashing the
virgins.
fluorescent light bulbs. Yeah. A lot of stuff.
So first, I do want to try this Gamedle thing. Let's just pull it up. We'll time box it. We won't spend very long on this.
Oh no, the pressure.
Hey, I'm gonna help. I'm not putting you on the spot.
I have been playing on Impossible Normal.
Do games even come in boxes anymore? Because you used to buy. I sound like such an old man. You used to buy a physical copy.
No, yes, you're right in that while they may be sold in physical copies still to this day, it is becoming less and less likely that that's how people buy it because hard drive sizes have become large enough that the easiest thing to do is just download it.
Yeah.
But the official box art, or the official, I guess you just call it artwork. I don't know what the term.
Yeah, like
for
the
event
cover art.
The cover art.
Yeah. Thumbnail.
Thumbnail.
Everything's a thumbnail.
I'm being thumbnail to play Modern Warfare. Great thumbnail. Hit me with.
Yeah, normal
Do
difficulty.
normal.
Normal difficulty. We got this.
I did used to really be into bar trivia, and then I was in a relationship for like 5.5 years, and she. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah, brother.
And then she broke up with me because I got a trivia question wrong, and I haven't been back to bar trivia since. I'm now married to a different person. This was like 7 years ago.
Also, congrats. I was gonna say congrats on that, but what was the question?
Who
do you love the most?
No, I remember exactly what it was. It was one of those where they would dole out hints, and if you like wagered early on, they're like, oh, I know it after hint 1, you get a higher point total.
Right.
And the subject was journalism. I was like a working journalist at the time, and it was this publication, founded in 1883, started as an explicitly pro-labor publication. And I was like, I know it. I'm positive. And she was like, no, you always take risks. I play it safe in life. And this has been building over the last 5 years.
Right, and this is
We
coming
can't
out
do
in this trivia question.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was like, life is for taking risks. It's bar trivia. It's such a high reward and such a low risk. And anyways, I was pretty sure it was the magazine Mother Jones. It's like a very like leftist publication. I was like,
Yeah.
Mother Jones is a, folk labor leader. Turned it in. And then the next one is just like, known as the Gray Lady. It's the official paper of record for New York City. And I was like, it's the New York Times. And
That's
yeah.
where you lock in and you make it their fault. You go up to the trivia master and you say, hey, You're ruining my relationship.
I'm gonna fucking destroy the place if you don't call this back.
I don't want to
They're
start
like,
the fire.
they're like, I am not being paid.
So I might just have a breakdown trying to play this game trivia game. I might try and kiss one of you.
New York Times, the video game.
Sorry, we can montage it.
All right, well, do we need to know how to play, or Jordan, were you?
It's just the you start with the fully blurred image with like a little square revealed, and then it continues to reveal as you do 4 guesses. Yeah, I know this is a pretty much only me bullshit.
Now, could you?
Oh,
Okay.
I know what this is.
Oh,
Super Auto Pets.
yes, sir.
What is it?
Ding ding ding.
All right, let's do it again.
Is
Sorry.
Is this a game you've played?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an auto battler, kind of simple auto battler.
Okay.
Pretty fun. Strategy game, you know. Asynchronous multiplayer.
So both of you play video games.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, but like cool
Jordan's
stuff.
more of the gamer though.
Yeah, but like in a cool
Like
way.
Jordan's like who I think of as a gamer.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like a guy who hyper focuses on one video game and becomes really good at it. And then I won't play games for like a long period of time. And then
Yeah.
I come back to it, and it's just like another thing I can become hyper focused on, like anything else.
If we're gonna do this, we should go unlimited mode. I know that sounds crazy, but this one's like Wordle, where you are going back for the daily, whereas classic.
I had a
And
good
then normal.
4-year run on Rocket League.
See,
And
that's what.
Shoot, I saw this.
And then my
yesterday.
Xbox stopped working, and I just didn't get a new one. And I think my life's been better because of it.
I think that's probably for the best.
I
Yeah.
thought it was Tomodachi Life, but fuck, skip.
It's not Tomodachi Life.
No, I remember. I tried.
It's not
all
like the
day
Wii
yesterday.
music game.
Oh, this is Wii Party.
Wii Party.
Rock.
Does it tell you?
It gives you the suggestions. Yeah, once you type it in. Ka-ching.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Hit me with next.
Yeah, I
That
started.
is Star Wars Knights
Knights of the Old Republic.
1.
oh man! Hold on, you guys got to give me first crack because I
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah,
have
we gotta give you
guessed
first
that
crack.
just from the fonts.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me. I think I'm gonna know the next
I
one.
couldn't do impossible, but maybe on normal.
Yes.
I'm normie.
Hey, you probably get.
This is Settlers of Catan, the official mobile game.
Yeah, if you hit a. Ooh, wait, imagine.
I don't think you should type in my answers.
No, I
don't
try
think
because
any
it's
of
the
them are
same as
gonna be
hitting
correct.
skip. So I want you to work all the way through this one. I want to see you do it.
Did they reveal more after you do it incorrect?
Yes, you get
okay.
4 guesses total. Jacob, just skip. This is all. We're giving this all to Josh.
Oh, this is all me. Oh no.
See, he looks more of a face.
They look. What's going on? He's got like a little chapeau on. Has he kidnapped her?
It looks. Yeah, he looks like.
Oh, it's kidnapping simulator.
It's like help. I've been.
In retrospect, a little problematic.
This is. Oh, there seems to be some sort of portal in the background. I'm guessing Portal 4.
Yeah, check Portal 4. Nah, rats.
They only made 2.
Do you guys know this?
I know it's possibly something that begins with a V.
I actually don't.
Baldur's Gate.
You
Baldur's
said B or V?
B, it might be Broken Sword.
Yeah, this one I don't know.
Shadow of the Templars, if it's either of them.
It looks like Templars would be in
Oh,
there.
it's Indiana Jones.
Oh man!
Indiana Jones game.
Had they started with Harrison Ford's face,
It's not Great Circle. It's not any of the Lego ones. I don't think it's either Desktop Adventures or Fate of Atlantis. Try Fate of Atlantis. Phew. Okay.
wow.
Interesting.
I know Great Circle doesn't work because I've tried to run it on my PC and becoming resentful that it doesn't work.
Wow, 1992. Yeah, that's a little random.
Old, dude.
92.
That's the oldest thing I've ever heard of.
Oh, that.
Can we zoom into that?
Are you both 92? Are you
Yeah.
92? You're 92.
92.
I'm born in 2005.
It's such a full mustache.
What about that feels unbelievable to you? What are you saying about
It's
the way
only
that
the
I look?
mustache. It's only the beautiful full
Do you
mustache.
know what this is?
That's Hob with 2 B's.
The hell
Unless
is
I'm
that?
wrong. It might not be Hob. Oh, is it just with 1 B?
The hell is that?
Please be right. Oh,
Wait, zoom into that.
wait, this isn't Hob.
The
Oh,
hell?
this is so embarrassing.
It's
the
not because
pressure
I have
of it.
no clue what this is.
It's this is a survival game based in space, like a fantastical world. I never played it.
Can we skip again and get another reveal?
2020, I want to say. Ugh.
What the hell is it?
Wait.
It's possibly something from the Savage Planet. Give me one more skip. Unless it comes over. Journey to the Savage Planet. No, that's an H, but let's try it. Why not? No.
High on Life.
Oh, the Justin Roiland game.
The Justin.
Oh,
you know what?
yes.
I was gonna say the eyeball looked very Rick and Morty. I should have said that out loud.
It was
Oh my god! I should have known that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I know exactly what that is. Don't, Josh. We cut it out, but Josh guessed Brown Man Adventure.
What?
I think that's really problematic.
Wait,
Josh.
hold on. Is he a brown man?
Well, if you play Detroit Become Human, I think you would know that.
I didn't.
I
know,
didn't even racialize this Cupid's bow.
I didn't know that that's what the art for that was.
Pretty bad.
Become human?
Yeah, Detroit Become Human.
Oh, this is
Josh.
this is Josh.
It was Josh's.
Wait,
name.
you think I could get it?
Yeah, we think you can get it. Think about your previous guesses.
My previous guess. I don't remember at all.
You guessed a sequel that didn't exist of a game.
Oh, Portal. Portal. I've only played Portal 2, and so I'm gonna guess that one.
Legend.
We did it!
Let's
Legend.
go.
All right, we
played
have
a
to
game.
Move
Did
on.
you play it multiplayer?
You won the game.
Yes.
Were you long or little guy?
Well, I don't. Wait, you can
You
choose.
can be the long boy, or you can
I didn't
be
under.
the
This is.
circle
I
boy.
played it with the same ex, and we tried to bond over shared interests. And she liked Portal 2, and then I couldn't get it right, and then she got mad at me.
This is. I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah.
I can't. The trivia ones. It was crazy to me. Like, what was the, if you don't mind asking,
Please.
what was the conversation and when was the conversation after that event that made it so clear that that was the catalyst for it?
So we didn't talk. We shared a bed, and I slept in that bed for the next 2 days. We did not exchange a single word with each other until she walked into the living room and just said, "Something's obviously not working." And I said, "You're right." And then she said, "We can either go to couples therapy or call it quits." And I just went. I didn't even have the ability to speak words in that moment. And then I took the TV and the Xbox
Nice,
and
brother, tell you.
and skateboarded. We shared a car, so I skateboarded to the Universal City Nissan dealership, and I said, "I'm in a very emotionally vulnerable place right now, and I don't have any
Take
other
all my
transportation.
money." Yeah.
I need a car."
And skateboard
And they're like, "We found this beater for $9 billion. Would you like a loan?"
No, instead they kept
I'll trade
upselling
it.
me to a nice 2017 Altima, and I was
Okay.
just like, "I just need to go to find a Craigslist apartment
Right.
and give it to me."
I cannot
Yeah.
think of
They
a
upsold you to a
funnier image,
Cybertruck.
and I'm sorry, but the idea of a man looking sad after a breakup but rolling on a skateboard.
Sadly, rolling sad.
rolling downhill, just
Yeah.
like, forget it.
Actually, a snapshot of me like 7 years ago. Yeah.
Rolling to a Nissan dealership trying to trade the skateboard for a new car.
Just treating every like 24-year-old junior salesman like a therapist,
Yeah.
you know?
Sir, could I please have one of the cars?
Yeah, when they're like, and if you have anything, I'm here to help. And you're like, promise?
Actually, the fact that you asked that it says a lot.
I know we're
Yeah.
setting up my business bank account, but what are your thoughts on relationships?
Can you co-sign this? I don't trust you at all.
Oh, God.
Okay, so TimeGuessr is, we're going to get shown a photo. So now we've got a picture, and it's our job to guess. We'll just, normally you go through 5, but we can just go through 1. Unless we have a lot of fun. So now if you roll over it, I think you can zoom into this photo. And we want to guess the time period and the place.
Ooh, and the place. Okay.
So
Fascinating.
there's some text up at top. If you scroll up to the top, can we zoom into that text?
Okay,
Welcome to
all in
Chow
English.
Cafe. Hang on though.
But it's like,
Interesting.
Go to the right, Jacob. There's a little sign, a yellow sign.
Ooh.
Mm.
Now, I will say, Chow Cafe, CIAO. I feel so like there's a fast food place where I'm from called USA Chicken.
Yeah.
The novelty
Yeah,
of it
yeah,
being a relatively
Yeah,
regular
wait.
thing.
I feel like we're in Vietnam.
This is Vietnam for sure, yeah. This phone.
None of you have been to Chow Kitchen? Any chance?
I have not. No, but like you said, like Chow is it's probably one of the most recognized words in the world, I'd say.
But it would not be something you would call a place in the place where that language is spoken.
Correct. Yeah.
Hello, cafe.
100%, yeah.
The other thing I would
Maybe
say
in
is
LA.
let's zoom out and look at the cars. I like to look at the cars.
the Nissan, if I will. Check
Well,
the skateboard.
Fong-
And if I knew things about bikes, I would look at those.
Phaong is like a common Vietnamese surname.
Yeah.
Also, I grew up in the largest Vietnamese community outside of Asia.
Really?
By the way, yeah. Shout out to Westminster Garden Grove, Fountain Valley, Little Saigon, in Orange County.
What's
Wow.
that?
Was that all like getting more specific? Because it
No,
sounded
so-
like you were describing. You were describing.
dress.
Yeah, a dress. Yeah.
No. So the neighborhood's called Little Saigon, but it encompasses like multiple sovereign cities within Orange County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you're from OC.
Yeah.
But you're part of your family? Part of the community? What,
Oh,
how
perfect.
come-
Ho
So
Chi
my
Minh City?
stepmom's Vietnamese, and she had like a shop there.
I mean,
Is it Ho Chi
it's-
Minh City?
I feel like starting at Ho Chi Minh City doesn't seem bad, but year.
Also, Ho Chi Minh City, gonna be. Oh,
is it giving us a range? Is
Yeah,
that
we
what that
pulled
is?
a slider
Ah,
to decide the year.
But what
like
if it's
97.
I would say at least because those cars look 90s.
And we're
era.
looking at like a Kodak.
Kodak moment. I'd say we send it. Why not?
Does it give us a?
It'll
97, is
tell
that,
us
is that
how-
too early? Is 97 too early?
No, that seems.
No, I feel like it's fine.
I feel like there was kind of a bell curve of photo quality. Where
Yeah,
old film
yeah.
camera, it's got a charm to it. Then it was really bad for a while, and like when you first got camera phone, and then it got good again.
Sometimes
This feels pre-camera
I will
phone.
say though, I've seen a 2017 photo that they put in black and white for some reason, and I was like, guys, okay, just submit it because this will give us a. Okay, we were 6 years off,
Okay.
but still pretty close, and then Hanoi.
Oh, it's Hanoi is in the north. Okay,
Yeah, so
interesting.
that's the game.
my favorite dish is from Hanoi. It's called bun cha.
What's that?
Incredible. Bun cha. It's like this like ground seasoned pork patty served in this like fish sauce.
Can we
broth.
Google it? Do you know how to spell it?
Yeah, just like BUN space CHA, and then sometimes they'll add Hanoi after it.
What? Have you guys played FoodGuessr?
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. I just remembered.
What is happening right
Yeah,
now?
Bun
The
Cha Hanoi.
serendipity. Now we got a photo. We got a photo from Vietnam. We learn about Josh's history.
Bro, you go to Quan Hop in Westminster, get yourself some bun cha Hanoi.
Yeah, and then
think so,
now
baby?
now look at us.
I went in. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I wish someone would tell
Are you
me.
guys going to VidCon this year?
I
I
think.
always forget it's happening. But
I don't know.
Same, yeah.
Probably.
If you are, we should go get Vietnamese food.
Ooh.
Okay. Lock in. Put your glasses.
What is this?
Take your glasses
Okay,
off and then
so-
put them back on.
So this is where I'm completely useless, by the way.
All right, we got some sort of braised sliced pork belly on top of, can't tell what that is, but there's rice underneath. I would say this is northern, I'd say northern Chinese. I'd say this is like, maybe not northern Chinese, maybe like Guangdong.
And it gives the description on how to make it.
Oh, really? Pork belly?
Yeah,
fermented
like,
soybean,
start by
crushed ginger,
marinating
minced
pork
garlic,
be-
star anise, soy sauce, sugar. Some sugar spices. Yeah, so there's a lot of the anise would indicate, like, I mean, it's used in Chinese cooking a lot, but also Vietnamese cooking. There's a dish really similar called Tit Kho in Vietnam, but that has a more of a sauce on it. Are you supposed to name the dish?
I don't.
Or guess a place.
Yes.
China for sure. Not for sure, but oh, it was Vietnam, or is it? No,
I think. Yeah. No. China was one of them.
oh, China's one of them. Yeah. I'm about paying.
God damn, 5,000.
Oh, that's a perfect score.
Specifically influenced by Hakka Chinese cuisine. Interesting. Ooh, this is. Wait, they have a.
I thought it was
milk
seared
yogurt.
scallops at first, and then I realized it's cheese.
That's ghee? Is that ghee?
No, this is semolina. So it's somewhat similar to like a what's the corn polenta, but
Yeah.
made with semolina, which is like a coarse ground durum wheat. Bake results in a crisp top with creamy tender. There's Parmesan cheese, nutmeg. So this is probably northern Italian. I like a Piedmontese dish,
And see,
or
my-
some. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my TimeGuessr skills are saying we can see Italian on the menu right there.
Trattoria Molto, but that could also be it's gnocchi alla romana. Yeah. But sometimes you'll see dishes like that are also like Croatian, right? Because it's like so close, and it's like almost like there's something a little bit off about like an Italian dish. And you're like, oh,
Right.
that's Albanian style spaghetti.
Do you? Okay, so question for you. When I've been to Japan, one of the most interesting things to me is the Japanese take. It's like not Japanese fusion. It will be like Japanese doing German restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's like Yoshoku cuisine.
it's it's like very odd. Not odd. I don't want to say it's odd because culturally I think it's very interesting and the food's good. But then also you go and you look in the menu at the back of the menu, the hostesses are listed like idol girls with their like blood type and stuff. This is like a real thing.
Have their blood type on it?
This is uniquely for German restaurants in Japan,
not
or just any like
uniquely for
Western.
German. Just in, I think it's in just like borrowed cuisine.
Yeah,
Where it's almost like kind of how we have theme restaurants.
Yeah.
It almost feels like it's a German themed restaurant rather than like
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Of like the bratwurst and maybe some of those overalls.
And they're all in the
Oh, funny.
which is fun. I don't know.
I feel like there is something specifically to like the more outfit oriented a cuisine, the better a kind of gimmick restaurant.
100%.
Because
yeah.
you get to, it just like hits you like a wave. There's that spot. What is it in? I think it's in Old Vegas. There's that the big dining hall type space, and they're doing Oktoberfest all year round. And they spank you with a giant paddle that they also serve shots on. We went there, right?
We went there. Or did I go there? Where was this? Vegas.
Vegas.
Well, I've definitely, if we didn't go there together, before we met, were in Vegas for our birthday. We share a birthday.
Love it.
For the show.
Yeah. And we were both in Vegas for our birthday, but like didn't really hang out that trip. We like saw each other in passing, I think.
Yeah, we locked eyes for a second and soul bonded.
Yeah.
And then someone stopped me and said,
We said podcast, 10 years.
we can't cross the dimensions. It's too dangerous.
I'm gonna get addicted to this. I
know.
What's it called? Foodle?
FoodGuessr.
Much
FoodGuessr.
better. Foodle is way better.
Can we run
over
some
there.
more? You guys talk among yourselves. We gotta play.
Fermented
Fish ferment,
rice.
cooked rice with freshwater shrimp in a jar. Okay, so freshwater shrimp is interesting. So probably a landlocked country.
It also says the name of it below.
Burong hipon. I would maybe say Burong hipon.
I prefer it in the first
Philippines.
photo.
Philippines probably. That could
I would say Philippines as well, based on the language.
but it could also be like Myanmar or something where I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar with the language. But I'm gonna say Philippines.
I'm not too familiar with the language, but I'm decent at the shape.
Philippines. Lock it in. Final answer.
Let's go.
Hey!
Oh, I've had that.
Have you?
I used to be part of. This is such a bizarre. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Ex-partner of mine, Filipino, and I was exposed to a lot of the more like exciting food from first gen of their family.
Hell yeah.
And
did.
something of an
I sure did.
Indiana Jones. Even that's what you said.
I did?
Yes, you said.
Well, you're kind of an Indiana Jones in his desktop adventures.
Yes,
Where
but
you like don't leave the house.
and I live in Detroit and I became human.
Right.
I just couldn't have a balut. I just couldn't do it.
But you cracked it open and you saw the balut.
Her dad did.
But you didn't stare it in the, because when you see it,
It's
it's here. It's here, Jordan. It's here. It's begging you to eat them.
Free me! Please go. I can't die. I want to be in your belly.
So at the like epicenter of Little Saigon, the neighborhood that I grew up in, there's something called Asian Garden Mall. That's just like sort of one person built it, and then a ton of local businesses moved in. My stepmom had a shop there. There's like a steam table Vietnamese restaurant that at the end of the line in like Panda Express, they'd have the egg rolls and the wontons. They just had an open bowl of balut, but the Vietnamese version of it, which is pretty much the same thing. And you can just like crack one open, eat it as a snack, walk around the mall. It was great. So I love balut. It's not my favorite dish in the world.
What does
but
it taste like?
chicken and egg, because it's a chicken and egg.
Makes sense.
Or
Bone.
duck. But no, it's the most interesting thing is some will be very young and you eat the whole thing, and then some will actually be older and they'll have more developed feathers and bones.
It's hatched. It's walking around.
Get back in there.
I just can't
And it's my limitation culturally.
I was going to
Certainly
say,
not,
like,
you
I
know.
can never knock another culture's delicacy because, but at the same time, it's like you're allowed to have your preferences, but I think that there's a difference between when someone goes, that's disgusting.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
agree with
Like,
that.
I think that that's really to deny a culture's delicacy. I
Yeah.
think is very like immature, very childish.
It's kind of it's a sad way to live in general. It's that's
Yeah.
like what adventures are left for you if the things you've done are the good ones and the things you haven't
Yeah.
are bad?
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause-
the difference between like that is not my preference and that is disgusting. One is objective and one is subjective, right?
Right, exactly.
And the whole thing behind cultural taste is that it is very subjective.
Is that a leak tattoo that you have?
Yeah, it is.
Do you know about
What's on the other ones?
Pokemon? Do you know anything about Pokemon?
I know there's one that carries a leak. and I know how I'd cook many of them.
Are you a League fan?
I'm a big League fan. This was more of like a metaphor if we really want to get down to some proper SB sad boy stuff. Get the heck out. Do you have a giant League plushie? It's a giant Farfetch League plushie. Do you know about the fact that this is like a Japanese idiom?
Yes, I know it's like a pun thing, and it's a reference to a idiom.
Well, I think it's
Peeps is the other pokey
Do you know
trainer.
it? Because his name is not far-fetched, and that's like I think one thing that's interesting is the localization of Pokemon names. Because let's look up far-fetched Japanese name. Oh, Kamonegi.
Negi.
Yeah, that's a risky one for you. Peeps.
Negi is the
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. Duck Leak. It's literally.
Oh, Kai's Kamo duck.
I guess so. I don't know. My vocab is very bad in Japanese.
I'm shout outs to the first person to come up with that idiom.
Yeah,
because they ain't wrong.
True.
I tell you what.
True.
I guess you could kind of put it anywhere. The chicken came bearing the seasoning for it.
I thought it more meant like somebody who's kind of like gullible and stupid.
That's
like
what
you're
I thought
like
too.
a duck walking around with its own leak.
No,
But
this is
things
actually
don't-
fun. Like, yeah.
I see a duck with a leak. I'm like, I kind of want duck now.
Well, I think that kind of makes far-fetched as a localization makes a sense, right? Because it's like it's a little on the nose. It's far-fetched.
Oh yeah, like this scenario would never. You would never be so lucky as to see.
Exactly.
Wow,
Such a
interesting.
And the guy,
basic reading.
I
which
can't
was like,
remember
they
his
wouldn't
name.
have that. Why would a duck have that?
Oh, the guy who localized the early Pokemon, his name is on the tip of my tongue, but he has done a bunch of interviews recently, and it's super cool to like get into the mind of like, okay, here's, what this is, and here's the motivation for this name, and then how do you localize that for an American audience? And then also, a lot of the Pokemon, especially the early ones, have been localized in so many different languages. And so that's like someone's unique job to try to like translate.
They should let me take a swing at it.
You Bulgarian nerd, get to
Yeah,
write.
exactly. And someone's like, finally, this is my call. I've been called up. It's like being called up to the NBA from your couch.
Except you didn't know you liked basketball.
You didn't
but
know.
you're amazing.
Right. Well, that does kind of happen. Like they saw like some NBA scouts saw like Giannis Antetokounmpo like in Greece, like playing basketball with his brothers or something, and they were like, hang on, he's rough around the edges, but that's a big boy.
Oh, dude, that's got to sting.
The
when you're
Olympic
brother.
long jump champion, also Greek, Mitliadis Tendoglu, he was just doing parkour in Athens, and the Greek national track and field coach was just like, what if you just did that on a track and not like onto, a balance beam 15 feet in the air in a parking garage?
Yeah,
and he did it.
An I-beam swinging above an orphanage or something. Maybe.
exactly.
Let's do it in a safe. What's
And he
going
probably
on?
made way less money winning an Olympic gold medal than he would have starting a parkour YouTube channel.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why is there a direct correlation between the more European you are, the more likely you are to do parkour? It's like if you are wearing a tracksuit, you live on a rooftop sprinting.
Like, I don't know, like walkable cities, like housing density, like there might be a real answer there.
There might
I don't
be a
need the
real
car.
answer,
Yeah, I hop on the tube. I head downtown. I climb up Big Ben. I realize there's no adjacent buildings.
Oh no, I've climbed too high.
Yeah, one move,
Ben's
the
too big.
Spider-Man slide down.
It would do. The thing is, one thing we all want more than anything is a legacy, right?
Sure.
Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to do this.
You said that very confidently.
But if I were doing parkour on Big Ben at somewhere around midday, and I fell off and I was speared by one of on the big clock, everyone would remember me.
Everyone would remember me. That seems like that's like an Evangelion type thing. Where it's like in slow motion, it like goes black and white, and you just see the like.
Yeah. As soon as it's 4 p.m., I slide off, fall into the Thames. People forget my name. No, I was actually this one thing related to this. I did kind of want to throw to you is like I don't know what your relationship to fitness was prior or post, right? It's probably I'm sure people pep you about it because you're yoked, you're jacked. You're
Thank
yoked
you.
like a balut in some respect, but you got out of the shell and lived the life. I don't know.
the metaphor tracks.
Yeah, someone was gonna eat you, and then you grabbed them by the throat and said, "Not today."
No, I ain't got no leaks,
And then you
pal.
climbed out of the shell and made your own man of it.
There's something, edit it to make sense.
There's a
please.
Pokemon named after this entire scenario.
Jacked guy.
It's Machoke.
I was going to say that is my body inspo is just Machoke.
Well, I was going to ask, so I feel as though dedicating yourself to, obviously there's the diet component, but also just the regularity of it, the planning, the pre-production of it, like the maintaining your fitness and wellness and it feels very closely correlated to cooking,
Yeah.
learning a craft, getting a little like music where the theory really helps. Sometimes you can just intuit a lot of it, but once you know the theory and the science, you're going to learn quicker and do better. What's the forgive me, chicken and egg of that scenario? Was it literally what it came out of school, but you also happen to be cooking? I'm curious what came first.
Sure. So, I started cooking when I was probably like 10, 11 years old, just watching Food Network at home, divorced parents, total latchkey kid. Both parents were, my mom was just like super mentally ill, so wasn't really in the picture. My dad worked like 15-hour days. Classic story. And so if I wanted any good food, I had to cook it myself. And
Separate circumstances, but same result.
Yeah. But just started doing that. But I was also always really into sports. And so I was, playing basketball and doing track and field and playing football since I was like 10, 11 years old. So they've always gone really hand in hand for me. And then when I started taking sports more seriously, I just knew that I wasn't going to get into a good school academically because I could just never focus on school. All I ever wanted to do was play sports and cook. And so I was like,
that sounds like a movie, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I just want to,
it's
like, you can't play sports and cook.
Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off,
Yeah,
Disney
true.
Channel, dude. Massive
True.
inspiration to me.
That's all money. Does he get $1 million?
Is that the implication that?
hell is
I don't
that?
know. Yeah, I can't
Kind of a
remember
better
the
title
plot of
than,
that.
like-
I did see that. Was Kyle Massey in that?
Kyle Massey.
If I enter a competition
it was
with
Orlando.
It was Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
if I go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and I win, they give me $80. I'd be like, you said,
I get
the
that.
hell is this?
But no, so I at some point learned I was throwing shot put, and they were kind of just like, hey, if you throw like 55 feet.
Did you go to school in Athens? Why do you have such a very
I-
sort of
Greece,
sport?
actually.
My best friend is the Greek national record holder in the
That's
shot put.
amazing.
I went to his wedding on the hill, on
he
the
threw
highest
his
hill on
wife.
the island of Samos
Whoa.
in Greece last year. This is all real.
Just like
I
Mamma
went to
Mia.
school on a shot put and discus scholarship. Because it's so simple. They're just like, you talk about like obsessing over one thing. There's like, hey, here's a line at 55 feet. If you can throw this metal ball over that line, you'll get a scholarship.
My
to school.
sister went to university on a shot put scholarship.
Wait,
actually.
really?
Yeah, University or Illinois State, actually.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I know they're like such specific disciplines. I'm just curious. Shot put and discus wise, any crossover in the training? Or are they like
Big time.
They spin. They don't. I don't. I'm not a spinner.
No, both of them. So both of them, if you're rotational, big time, and the training's almost the same. But then I switched over to hammer throw in college.
You love spinning around, huh?
I really do. But no, it's like, it's so simple. There's a 7-foot ring. You have a heavy ball, and it's just how far can you throw it? And you can focus on that every single day. But then the nutrition is also a big part of that because you're lifting weights constantly, just trying to get as strong as possible.
Yeah, presumably you're just extremely hungry.
Yes.
Like just the amount.
And so I was
you
probably
overcame.
eating like 6,000 calories a day. Also, my coach would threaten to like cut my scholarship if I was less than 260 pounds. And so I was just, you're working out constantly, you're eating constantly. And so I was cooking constantly. And so, you just make like a 12-pound pork roast and just eat that throughout the week, just taking sacks of wet pork, out of your bag. But I was cooking so
Oh,
constantly.
I always had that, but I never knew what to do with it.
I was like, what do I do with these sacks of wet pork?
You're treating them
So
like, because the
many.
college makes you buy your own. It's a scam. You have to buy the pork
It
yourself.
seems
It's
so
crazy.
obvious now in retrospect.
And you have to read it over the summer.
I know.
Belly.
But yeah, so that always went hand in hand for me. And then now, honestly, part of like because I was always strong and I was always fit, but I was always like pretty overweight because that was part of the discipline. And then it wasn't until the threat of me being on camera where I was literally just like, maybe I should start taking this more seriously. And a lot of it is vanity. And I think a lot of people don't want to admit that. I was just talking with a friend about like all these 50-year-old podcasters and people on supplemental testosterone, and like it's for the mental health, and it's just
not gender confirmation.
Yeah, it's like
That's
gender affirming
100%.
care. Yeah,
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got hair plugs for science or something.
Definitely.
I just wanted to go to Turkey.
And so no, a lot of it was, now it's so much a part of my emotional regulation is that like I have to get up, and I'm in the gym for like 2.5 hours every morning.
What
lot
time
of it,
do you get up?
5:30.
One of
Of
those.
course.
When do you go to bed?
11:30.
And you're chill with that? Are you one of those
No.
people? Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Remember when you offered me a coffee?
Yes, right.
And I
Yes,
said
yes.
I've already had too much caffeine
Right,
today
that
and I
makes
need to
sense.
ration it out.
Yeah.
And
And
that's not normal.
You've gone blind a couple of
And
times
I've gone
from doing
blind
it.
from caffeine temporarily.
Oh.
We can see.
Congrats.
But yeah, thank you.
I once had someone try to tell me that it was a scam, like needing 8 hours of sleep a day. And I was like, no, there are like people who genetically need less, but those people are rarer than you think.
Yeah.
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 And I'm like, that's a real superpower, and I'm jealous for all the people who have that.
I stopped drinking beer specifically because that was like my habitual drink, which means I've been drinking way less than usual. And I've been less British, I guess. That's like going to church every Sunday. It's having beer too early. As a result, I've always had sleep issues, but even with those sleep issues, I am sleeping a lot better. And now, anytime I hear you're like, I'm just kind of a night owl, I just don't sleep great. I'm like, hey, it's okay. I'm doing copes too. Sleeping about it just is really good.
Yeah.
You wake up and it's like, oh, I feel less tired than before when I wasn't asleep.
Dude, I stayed up till 5 last Thursday, and it has ruined the week in between then and now. And I've been trying desperately to like fix my sleep. And every night I would like go to bed at midnight and then wake up at like 11:30. The other day, I was like sitting on the toilet, and I have a smart speaker, and I didn't look at the clock when I woke up. And so I asked the smart speaker what time it was, and it said 11:30. And I said, Jesus Christ. And it says, is everything okay? No, it's not. No, and now I'm scared.
Wow, that's so fucked up. A computer became self-aware.
How do you guys deal with the general anxiety of being on camera? Because that was never something that I wanted to do. I love doing what I do now, to be clear, and I made the active choice to sound like somebody put a gun to my head. But like, I thought I was going to be a writer my whole life.
Right. And you were a journalist.
I was a journalist, yeah. I wrote for magazines, and I had a weekly column at Maxim for a long time. That's fun. In my early 20s, just writing about food, which was really cool. But I never thought that like I would be judged for my physical appearance at all.
Sure.
And then suddenly going onto YouTube, part of me launching Mythical Kitchen was like, I need to have everything in place to make me feel as confident as possible.
Right.
And literally part of that was like, well, let's spend a summer just getting as jacked and lean as possible.
Yeah.
And
it's like your wedding is coming up. You know, it's like the pressure,
100%.
the external pressures of how you feel like you're supposed to be in this special moment or whatever.
Yeah. It sounds like regulation and discipline has been like very, very kind to you, right? And you've been made sure it's maintained. So that does make sense.
And it's almost medicinal, right? Like that's like such an important, that regulation is like very important.
It's like a very pragmatic way to approach that concern is like, well, what can I do with the tools that I know?
And that is like, that's sports in a nutshell, which is why I like, for me, I owe so much to all of the discipline that I got from athletics growing up, because it's such a simple input-output relationship, especially in track and field, where it's not like, if you play basketball, right, you got 4 other people on the floor, you got a coach, you have all this stuff. If you train hard in basketball, you can increase your vertical jump through a pragmatic set of steps. That doesn't mean you're going to win more games. Doesn't mean you're going to shoot better. Track and field, it's so simple. It's just, if I get stronger, ball go farther.
Everything's isolated.
100%.
Yeah. And
so for me, it developed this very simple input-output relationship of just if X, then Y. And I was like, what if I applied that everywhere in my life?
Yeah.
And then you'll also find a lot of chefs I once worked for a chef who refused to hire kids from culinary school and only hired athletes.
Huh.
Because it's
they
a
chop
lot.
onions so fast.
Well, like kind of, yeah, though. But like, actually, if you give like an athlete like 50 onions and you say, by the end of this bag, see how fast you can chop it, there's going to be an inherent drive that's going to let them do that versus
a couple fingers gone, but
yeah, sure. 100%. But like,
Yeah.
that's a kitchen though.
Right.
A couple fingers are going to be gone or gashed and you need to bandage it up and get back on the line.
Yeah. The injury is in the end kind of.
Yeah. Like it's being in a professional kitchen is so much more similar to being on a sports team than being in culinary school.
Right. That makes sense. Just like from what I've heard from
It's
people.
hot. It's uncomfortable. It's hierarchical. It's generally abusive.
High pressure.
And high pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. That does make a lot of sense. Cause it's like you're being asked to perform.
100%.
Yeah. And yeah. So to answer your question, so before I did anything on YouTube, I did improv. And I used to perform, and that's how I met one of our producers, Anastasia, who's not here today. But maybe you've met just in the Mythical office.
Yeah, I think I have before.
Long curly hair.
Name's Anastasia.
Name's Anastasia.
That was my first clue.
Yeah.
Chocolate master.
So we used to do improv, and I think that like being on stage, I think I had like the normal like stage fright and stuff like that. But then you do all these shows and then you kind of like work. I would like work through that anxiety from that. And so YouTube, I don't think I had any anxiety until I started getting views. And then there was anxiety of like comments on, the way that I looked, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that got to me for a while. And even if it wasn't looks, it could be the content of my character, just other commentary.
That's not nearly as bad as being judged for your
Right,
looks, though,
exactly. And I still think that there's
How about this thing you can't change?
I still have a lot of like kind of insecurities and anxieties about the way that I present. But I through therapy and through exposure over the years and like a good support system, I've learned that a lot of those things are like in my own head and don't really matter, even though they definitely like feel like they do, like to the point of like, I don't like to feel seen. Like if I'm observed in a way that I like would have preferred, let's see, I can tell myself no one's looking at me or no one's really thinking about it. But then if someone comments on my body, then I'm like made painfully aware that that's happening. And
that's kind of
one's psychic damage.
That kind of thing's like a shock because it's hitting you, but you're also like, you don't have the fucking right to, this is creepy. It's rude and weird and
even
hurtful. When
it's a compliment, it's like, if it's a compliment on something I'm personally self-conscious about, then it's like, ugh. Especially now, because I had a really rough time post-COVID because I put on a bunch of weight during COVID and I haven't really like lost that weight. And it's like something I try not to like shame myself, and I try to focus on the habits and the trying to just like keep healthy habits and things like that. But there is this like dissonance between like what I felt was my like body that I was comfortable in and like where I'm at now, and finding that comfort took some work, and trying to like detangle the toxic identity of like your physical form and how that affects my mental health, like not being as fit as I want to be, but then also putting in the work. I think for me, the biggest struggle with all of this is just like ADHD and executive function with like staying on top of like habits and things like that. Like I don't feel, and this is not true, but I don't feel like I have very much discipline. Like I feel like I have like the ability to like leverage a hyper focus of mine to results. But when it comes to like putting in grit and like hard work, that wasn't something that I learned when I was young, because I could kind of just fly by without trying very hard. And it like kind of allowed me to like get to a certain point where I was in college and I realized I like didn't really care about anything. It didn't have a sense of identity.
Yeah.
And so I think that is like something I still grapple with, but thankfully I've had the right like support and like at least have like a framework for like addressing it in a healthy way, even though it's easier said than done. And like, it can be very difficult at times.
The comment about discipline versus like leveraging hyper focus for certain results, are those not one and the same? Because I don't know if I come off as a disciplined person, but like I wake up at 5:30 and I, go in the gym for 2.5 hours because that's been my hyper focus since I was 11 years old.
Right.
I cook myself healthy dinners, still tasty and cool and worldly. I'll make, I think I'm making like a Turkish version of moussaka tonight, because that's my hyper focus.
Right.
I don't register my car on time. Like I don't, I can't do any of those things. If my job were to like make spreadsheets and answer emails,
right,
I would just be out on the street fully.
I think that in my mind, discipline is pulling the cord on a motor, and then the maintenance of it is kind of the hyperfocus. Like as soon as I'm moving in a thing that I can hyperfocus on, then it's seamless, right?
Yeah.
Because you're already gaining the focus.
Once you've kind of reached escape velocity
and learning to do
activation energy. But to answer your question, I feel like I've been able to leverage my own hyper focuses, which at the always was like creating things and like making stuff. And that kind of blended with, okay, I need to go to school and like study something that's, productive. And so I studied computer science, and then I got really into that. But it was almost like a game to me, where it was like, I need to like learn how to do this the best. And then there were just varying, it was a thing that had a lot of tight feedback cycles where I could try something, I could write a piece of code, it could fail, I could like try it again. It kind of like keep running things over and over, in contrast to something that had more delayed gratification. Like I considered majoring in psychology, and I didn't do that because I knew I wouldn't be able to do the work. I knew that I would struggle all the time with doing the work. Like just actually doing it, not like understanding it, not anything like that, just like actually doing it. So I wanted to put myself in a position to succeed. And then my hyper focus became YouTube. But I think that the grit that I speak of is kind of when I don't have that hyper focus, because I'm able to channel it in some things. Like, for example, like I got really into personal finance in my early 20s. When I was like trying to pay off my student loans and things like that. But now with like fitness and eating healthy, like I just started like a meal plan that I'm like trying to be like diligent on. And I know that I have issues with, I don't know if I've talked about it very much, but I think I have, I guess also trigger warning for like binge eating stuff, but I think I have some sort of binge eating disorder or behavior, because my entire life I've like felt like I could like go to the pantry and like black out and consume like a ton of calories and stuff like that, and trying to like balance around all of these things and also deal with the guilt immediately after engaging in some of that behavior. Like I've never kind of gone to the extremes of anything like that. Like I've never engaged in, again, trigger warning for any eating disorder stuff, like I've never purged or anything like that, but it certainly crossed my mind where I'm like, I wish I could hit the undo button in this like blackout. It's like almost like you black out and you do something embarrassing and you wish you could like hit undo.
And you've talked before about the dilemma of like, well, how much guilt and focus is there to feel, and how much grit has to be put into just not doing that versus finding the source of doing that.
Right. And finding also just like a structure. I think this is something that we dealt with, and I don't know how it was for you, because working as a journalist does seem like it can be fairly structureless from a traditional like 9-to-5. But I really benefited from working in the structure of a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
Because that is like, that's like working on a team, like, or in a sport where I'm like, I have my little area and I can excel in that. But when I became in charge of everything, my systems mind can like build systems, and I can think like, okay, we need to hire a producer, and Jacob and I can collaborate on like what production workflow looks like. But when it comes to actively running the system every day, that is like where, because it requires continued energy. The system requires energy to keep functioning. That is often where I feel like I don't have that strength, and I almost wish I was a role player again. Like,
yes, and you get the parameters to exceed. I got a B. Now I can get an A. Now I can. The tier list. Whereas without in our case, 9-to-5 was a nice part of it, but in any kind of structure, it's kind of like if you were in college writing an essay and it had no word count and no grade, and they were just like, "It's good." And like, "It's good. Is that good?"
3 words sent in.
This is as much as I expected. What was?
I need to work on a team to function. So even when I was a journalist, I was mostly like 9-to-5 as a full-time editor. So I had, deadlines, and I had to write deadlines. And there was always the threat of a person right next to you just going like, "Hey, what the fuck?" if you didn't do something.
Huge. That matters. So that social pressure. Matt.
It's almost everything for me.
Yeah.
And then I signed a contract to write my first book when I was like 23. I was fresh out of college, had a literary agent, all this. And they were kind of just like, "Great, turn in 100,000 word manuscript for a cookbook in 9 months." And I said, "All right, Josh, remember all that grit and determination that you learned from sports that you just talked about with Jarvis and Jordan? You should write yourself a full schedule. And every weekend you're going to write this amount." And so I procrastinated for 8.5 months and I wrote
Preparing.
0 words of a book. And then suddenly I had to, turn in a, 100,000 word manuscript, or they just sue me for the money back because they give you the advance. And I'd already paid off a lot of my student loans with that.
Right.
And so then I did what anyone logically would. And I hopped on a Greyhound bus to Reno, Nevada. And I took a collection of study drugs from all my friends. And I stayed up for 3 straight days and wrote 85-90% of a book.
Merriam-Webster defines food.
That sounds a lot. Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't have ChatGPT.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known how to use it, and I would have just said, screw it, I can write it myself. Check out
I
the
could get on
Culinary
that bus.
Bro Down Cookbook. What a moment in time that
that's-
was.
that's
Well, culinary bro down.
That was the name of the college blog that started it all.
I like that.
what era was that? 25th, 13?
Probably 2014. 2014 was
that was
started.
the era. That's when bro got a little bump.
Well, it was
College
like
humor style.
it was meant to be kind of like an ironic, almost like. Do you guys remember Tucker Max?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Stranglehold on my high school. There's a certain type of guy in my high school that was like, this is my dude.
Yeah. And so it was like that, like post
Proto
like when
Barstool.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
When Barstool was just doing like smoke show of the week.
Lad Bible.
So it was like I was kind of doing a caricature of that, but very obviously like budding young male feminist who had just, moved from a red part of the world to a university. And so it was really farcical. So it'd be like the paleo diet was really big among that type of crowd. And so I wrote this, farcical piece about the Velocity diet. We're like, hey, if you thought the Paleolithic man had like super huge boners and was really virile, let me introduce you to the Velociraptor. So here's what you do. You're only going to eat sides of raw meat. And then I would just take it to its like logical and
Right.
But I was just writing these like absurdist humor pieces from this kind of like bro perspective that was obviously farcical. And then, put it into a whole cookbook. And then it's also just
Liver
a ton
King
of real
actually
stories.
read that. He was like, this will be my whole life.
I could be
no.
really red if I put the
It's like,
hours
if I,
in, so.
you are what you eat, and it's red.
I guess a quick as on the camera stuff. Weirdly, I was talking to Peeps the other day about this. I had never even thought about because pragmatically it's much more successful if we are on camera. That's YouTube is the space to publish the thing because it just purely on audio. It's not as much of a growth vector. We don't have a platform in that space like we did YouTube before doing this kind of Sad Boys. I was just chatting to people and I was like, would I prefer a version where I'm just not on camera? Like, what is the when I have no self-consciousness about the way that I'm positioning or whatever? And there's a tiny bit of me that I think could do more episodes were that the case. Like the psychological calories I'm burning on thinking about my physicality and my voice and the just performance and thinking and stuff is a little bit more intensive than like, if I did an episode every day or something, just audio would be so much like
Right.
just putting that through, because also chanting and riffing and thinking and trying to say pseudo insightful things on a microphone is a craft I'm very comfortable with, and everything else is something that's still growing. I don't think my nuclear option for the things I've been insecure about and I think this is a pragmatic but ultimately unhealthy solution that I don't think I learned it from my mom. It was just me and her, and I don't really know where it came from. But she was her whole life she was very like direct. She's in. Like, couldn't cook. Bad at cooking, but has a son. Got to figure out how to eat.
Yeah.
Still not good at cooking, but we make our meals and we like. Also, I was also very latchkey, but she would get home like 8 p.m. and it's like, all right, what are we doing? Like, we're cooking, we're eating something. You already good? You had a chicken burger? All right, sorted. Linda McCartney's oven-only veggie lasagna, sold. And the habit for getting rid of the things I really don't like has been a dangerous amount of exposure. Overexposure therapy was always a thing. I was always very self-conscious about my teeth. I got Invisalign. I'm a lot less self-conscious about it now. But something I used to do every single day for a decade is before I leave the house, I do a big smile at the mirror. I just go just like really fucking like get in it. So I feel, I'm a pretty smiley guy. And sometimes, even to this day, if I do like a big laugh or a big smile, a tiny part of my brain is like, that's Ian, the fucking monkey. And so I would do it and I'd be like, okay, that's what I look like. If I'm laughing and I feel a little self-conscious for a minute, I just think, I'm like, well, I look like that. This makes me sound like a sociopath.
No,
like
no, it
learning
doesn't.
to smile or whatever. But yeah, that was that. I don't do this anymore, but I had like, if there was something just like a major upsetting event or just something really negative or a family member passes or something like that, I used to change my phone background to something that reminded me of it and have that for a year until I kind of nullified it.
Wow.
Now this kind of reaches into, and I actually did more of this after when we were both in tech. And I think part of that is that pragmatism is for simple pragmatic actions for complicated feelings is a very tech thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that to its credit, that's why I got into therapy.
It does help.
And why I got diagnosed with ADHD, because I was like, I need to improve my productivity. I need to increase shareholder value.
You got a diagnosis, and then I was like, that does sound optimal.
And I'm
then
tired and sad all the time, and there's got to be a way to, and that's not good for shareholders.
That's not good for the OKRs.
Yeah, my KPIs are not. I'm not contributing.
They're getting dinged, and I'm not saying this in retrospect like it's something I do now. It's absolutely something I still do. But the ones I mentioned are the ones that I'm kind of done with, and so I'm more comfortable saying out loud. We've always done, I think, at least the modern era of Sad Boys in these exact seats and this exact way. But at any time I could have asked to change it, because this is the side of my face I'm not as confident about. This is the uncomfortable one. And if you watch the videos on my channel, yuck. Ooh,
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, they should. For people
It's like
that can't
Chad
see,
on one side and it's like Rich Troll on the other.
yeah. Well, I blame Batman. He was responsible for half my face
you're
burning
Two-Face.
and just making all my dark decisions with a
Harvey
Two-Face.
Dent, is that his name?
Stop. I used to be a lawyer.
Okay.
But now I for a while I was uncomfortable with it, but then I just did it to the point where I forgot that that's how it worked. If you watch when I still did YouTube videos a few years ago, whatever, if you watch any of those, good luck seeing the right side of my face.
Wow.
They are,
But you did it more
angled.
convincingly than Dream did on his face reveal, where he was like, "Hey everybody,
hey guys, what's going on?"
I forgot to mention two things related to gender affirming care and also anxiety on camera. I had gynecomastia surgery, so I had like man boobs, but it was like I had thick tissue like under my breast.
Not the thing you work off.
I lost a bunch of weight. I lost a ton of weight when I was like 21. I lost like 60 pounds and I only gained that back like in the pandemic. So bummer. And that was like why it was emotionally like difficult for me to deal with. But anyway, I'd lost all this weight, but then I still had these like bulbous like things like poking out of my chest. And it was like really like I felt so uncomfortable wearing t-shirts. I would always like pull my t-shirt against my chest and things like that.
Yeah.
And so then I got that surgery and it was like so huge for my confidence. And like, I haven't ever looked back. Like it was like maybe one of the best things I did for myself, because it was a thing where I felt like I wasn't in control. It was some hormonal thing from when I was very young is when it happens. And it's like, you just can't undo it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for myself. And it was like before I started YouTube, and like that gave me a lot of confidence. The other thing was getting braces. I got like braces when I was like 26, and in that moment I was like, okay, I'll have no social life the next 2 years. Yeah. Everyone's going to look at me and they're going to think I'm a child and all this stuff. And no one even noticed for the most part, or if they did, they didn't say anything. So it's like these kind of stories that we tell ourselves.
It's funny. The weird thing is like the older you get, so like the thing you are not allowed to do as a teen boy, I feel like we can all relate to this, is try. Like trying and caring about something too much.
100%.
I think would actually, like the possible exception of anything physical, like fitness or activity, something like cool, being very like physically taking up a lot of physical space.
I blame South Park for this whole.
For the whole like how you care.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you caring about anything, but the enthusiasm like clothing and accessorizing, like you thought about that, because it's instead of being an indicator of like ambition, like, oh, I want to feel better, look better, so and so. Instead, it's like this acknowledgement of fear. I'm scared that I don't look good enough, or something like that. And it's not real, but that was always the like, the the boys are gonna make fun of me if I try and be
it's
myself.
it's a heavily gendered component too. Like 90% of my childhood was just trying to avoid being called gay.
Yeah.
Or much worse slurs than that. Right. But everything you did, it was just, there's a whole essay about this in the Culinary Bro Down Cookbook. Check it out. There was a moment in my life when I realized that like, oh, this is all so stupid. And it was when I got called a homophobic slur for bringing the wrong brand of light beer to a party. And I was just like, oh, it was really Bush Light. It was really Bush Light. And then they just called me the F slur. And I was like, for Bush Light?
What are we
you
doing?
think about this so much that if I had brought Miller Light, or Bud Light, you'd
Yeah,
just be
it's
like,
what
now
is-
that
and
is
now
a
you're not allowed
straight
to-
man, and that's
Yeah.
good.
Right.
It's the most absurd shit. But everything we did growing up, I mean, I can't speak for everybody here, but our like rough generation, so much it was just trying to avoid being
Oh my
gay,
God.
which
Which
is
could have been any arbitrary thing. I remember as soon as I went to
Correct.
like even just like I don't know, like 16, 17, when you're exposed to like the world a little more. Like once I was actually seeing things and meeting different people, I remember people getting made fun of for calling someone gay. I was like, what are you, a child? What are you doing? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, because really it's homophobia and it's usually passed on from like parents a lot of the time, at least the terminology. But the application is like, I went to a very white school and there was never anyone that was like, oh, Jordan's brown, you must be more aggressive. It was like, Jordan's brown, I can say something mean. It was like the broader implications of like the N-word. They didn't know what it was from. The utility was just like, oh, this guy, look, he wore shoes.
Dude, yeah.
Shoes
those
are
formative
different.
years in school are so rough because I would even have like my friends like grab my man boob.
oh yeah, same.
And it'd be like, okay, well, I need to find some way of like coping with this or else it's going to go to a very dark place very
you get
quick.
scooped.
Yeah,
you get scooped.
yeah.
I like still have like a little bit of gyno. Like I've just worked out so much that it kind of
Yeah.
covers it. But no, I grew up like that 100%.
Yeah.
And it would, oh my God, the psychological damage of somebody just coming up and going, scoop. And then, you would retaliate out of, just like fear and self-hatred. And then
Or just even like
It has to be your fault also.
It's
It's like,
like-
someone said something, they must be
it's
right.
so
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
like because I also think that before I did that surgery I had to like convince myself that I loved myself unconditionally even outside of this if I weren't to do this, and obviously I struggle with that on a day-to-day basis, but like I think with braces as well, I needed to make sure that I was doing it for me
yeah.
rather than for like someone else, because that is a always moving target that you can never, completely
Yeah, I
achieve.
wouldn't get braces as a kid because I'm just like, what am I, a loser that thinks about things? I don't think about stuff, okay?
You're so well accessorized now though.
Actually, Matt's mostly inspired by him.
Nice.
I go through phases. I'm not always accessorized.
I think
but I think a lot of my style, like this is a jacket of Jordan, so we share. It's a very
Nice.
brotherly
Yeah.
exchange.
We're doing lateral hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Hand-me-rounds.
It's it's kind of like it's rugby.
You would have a roundabout, you British son of a
I'll give it a rest. You're the one that spin around and throw a disc. Pretty round to me, pal.
I got a big ball.
circle? You're gay, man.
like a little.
I just immediately revert for a moment of self-consciousness. I'll kill you.
I still don't drink with straws.
It is-
I felt gay when I was 7 for drinking
Okay,
with straws.
so we
There is sorry, I just have to say there is nothing more embarrassing, but not for homophobic reasons, but just aesthetically, than someone trying to catch a straw in a drink. That
I avoid
I'm
it.
like, yeah, you should have the
Put a
Don't
wet
clip
straw on the
that, by
bar.
way. You might find this funny. Do you know the enzyme that releases in your blood when you like overwork your body? Like muscle deterioration, you work your body to like muscle damage potentially.
There's the rhabdomyolysis. That's a
This
thing.
is
and then
I
it's not
have the name of it in my
just like
notes
lactic
somewhere.
acid, right?
It's creatine kinase.
Creatine kinase.
I'm in this medical study right now. I don't want to go into too many details on the
Wow.
pod, but I have to get my blood taken a lot. And so I got a call. This is very scary. I got a call from the doctor that said like, hey, your blood tested for like very high levels of like creatine kinase or whatever, like way above the normal range. Have you been doing any like heavy like weightlifting or things like that? And I was like, no, like any super strenuous exercise, because like it's talked about like muscle damage and like it releases in your blood when your muscles damage or whatever. And I was like, no. I did go skateboarding for the first time in like 2 years. No. And I was teaching.
Been through a breakup, had to go get a Nissan.
I was helping our friend John, our friend Spooky, who's also a very fit man, do rolling ollies on a skateboard. And I hadn't done so much jumping in so long. And I just kept doing it because I was doing so much demonstrating. I was like, no, you want to do it like this? And I just kept jumping up and down and just like propelling my body into the air, like lifting my arms. The next day I woke up, my entire body, including my arms, were sore just from like lifting them up as I jumped. And it turned out that that's what caused the spike. Because I had done like a squat jump. I had done a ton of like squat jumps essentially, because like that's what you need to do in order to do an ollie.
That's why the Navy SEALs have it.
From
jumping on a ship.
for like a couple days, I was like, oh, maybe I have some sort of kidney disease or something. Because if you just never Google your symptoms, right? But it's like if you have that excess levels of that in your blood, it can mean so many bad things if it's not caused directly from like strenuous physical activity. And so I got kind of spooked.
As my doctor, because anytime I see a doctor, I have to mention my tissue disease, and I'm like, Taylor's-Dan loss, you probably know about it. Someone, they're like, oh yeah, blah, blah. And we just go through
Shout
it.
out EDS.
Shout out to the EDS squad, the zebras out there.
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. People keep telling me I have that because of what I complain about. And I'm like, we don't need to have any more overlapping conditions.
That's true. Yeah, don't have it.
Yeah.
That's against the rules. They keep telling me I'm from Florida. No more.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
But I mentioned now and then there's like a subset of EDS or a certain condition where it like can genuinely threaten your life expectancy. It's not what I have. It's relatively rare, but it's something you have to keep an eye on, and it could affect things like organ performance. And I mentioned it to a doctor, and on my third appointment with them, they offhand were like, are you doing everything to kind of prevent, because right now your life expectancy could be 40 to 50 based on the, sorry? What happened? And they're like, well, we did the blood test and, you got your heart scan. I'm like, yeah, you mentioned heart scan. Was this to check if I'm already dead? What were you scanning? And they were just like, oh, no, what was your, I was like, not that one. It's the other one. They're like,
oh my,
nice.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
Like, what were you doing with the blood test in the meantime? Were you, okay, here we go.
That's why I'm not going to go to doctors.
Yeah, that's the lesson here on Sad Boys.
You're a Christian Scientist, right?
God, listen, man. My dad dated a Christian Scientist for a little bit. Wasn't allowed to go to hospitals then. I'm just repeating it.
I didn't know that Christian Science was like a whole thing.
Right.
Like, it's like an ideology.
Invented by God?
Oh.
Invented by Mary Baker Eddy, actually, is the founder of Christian Science.
Wow.
I had to learn a lot from my dad's 3-month relationship. This lady was a nurse, mind you.
Christian Science Monitor is a publication that is, I guess, owned by the Christian Scientists.
I always assumed.
That's what I assumed, right?
I've seen driving around places called the Christian Science Reading Room.
Yep.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible?
Yeah. Wow.
The Jews for Jesus have a couple of those too.
It was weird when the Christians keep writing new stuff, because I'm like, haven't you got
I know.
that one book that's kind of like supposed to cover a lot of it?
Well,
right?
that was our book. That was the Jews' book first, and then the Christians added more to that.
They did that sequel.
Yeah, they added a battle pass.
His deals.
At least like Mormonism did like a fan-made trailer, and they were just like, "Oh, we should just make this.
We should make this for real."
The Mormons do one of those AI covers where it's like, "Ooh, iRobot 2," and it's James
Jesus
Smith.
in Kansas.
Whoa, dude! And you found what on the plate? Josh, what a pleasure to have you here today. Is there anything that we haven't learned about you that we should know before we attend your live show?
Are you gonna
April
do anything?
4th. No, when is it?
No, yeah, it is. It's April 3rd.
April 3rd at 7:30 p.m.
7:30 p.m. Not much more that you should learn about me. Do you have any other questions for me? Any follow-ups? We almost talked about how the leak tattoo is an homage to my dead dad.
Ooh,
that was close.
Wait, let's talk about that.
That was close. We can talk about that if we have time. No,
DLC,
so I got this when my dad passed away. That's kind of the impetus of the show Last Meals, as I've just dealt with a lot of death in my own life. Mom passed away to when I was 24, but I'd been estranged from her for 10 years. This is the whole thing. But basically, by the time I was 19,
Hey,
I'd
we've
said,
got a lot
Squad,
of death
dude.
over here too.
really?
So
Hell yeah. Which ones?
my mom never knew my dad.
Mm.
My mom passed away, and then when I was 12, who was not my biological mother, but like my adoptive mother, basically.
Yeah.
And then my kind of next adoptive mother also passed.
Jesus.
When I was a little bit older. So when I was 12, and then when I was like 21.
Damn.
But no dads, no men. So that's
No.
why I'm such a soy cuck. Actually,
Yeah.
We're soy boys. My Big John roaming around Kenya. Ain't seen him. Heard about him here and there. Visited him once, I think, in Amsterdam for some reason. I don't know. I was very young.
Wild.
I do. Oh, maybe my half brother maybe listens to the podcast. So hey, you were great. I met you. You seemed cool. Also, shout out to Ruth. Give it Ruth and teaching my best. I'm giving too much data. But my mom died about 18 months ago, 20 months ago, something like that. And I got a tattoo, funnily enough, also.
Hey.
I found the last
leak.
because she had come to think of it,
duck.
this is your dad.
Yeah, it's like they go together. You guys fuse.
We're the living sons.
The most executively dysfunctional man on the planet.
Yeah, and with a tissue disease.
They said it couldn't be done.
But no, the whole thing behind the leeks are the hardest vegetable to clean and prep. And when my dad passed away, like the only thing that would calm me down is just cooking for hours and hours and hours at a time. I was just making my roommates so many freaking dishes, and it was the basic stuff, just like doing vegetable prep. And so for me, it's kind of like idle hands, the devil's playground, just like kind of, keep
Right.
working.
Yeah. Keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
Give yourself it's like something to chew on, right? Like it's like a task that's keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
I think
big
that's
time.
kind of a somewhat. I mean, people talk about like memorializing, but even memorializing and visiting a grave is a little like the exposure therapy thing.
Yeah.
You're showing yourself the reality as much as possible,
Yeah.
and you're grieving and you're appreciating it. But at the same time, it is like, well, whether it's a tattoo or even just like looking at old family photos or something like that, or just thinking about them, it feels like, I think to some people it's like a worship, to some people it's a process and a method. I think especially if you have a faith to some degree, it is like more practiced, like there's scripture guiding you to do it and stuff like that. But I don't know, I got the tattoo I made visible. I didn't want to get it on my arms because it was kind of a private one, but I got it's your dad's face. I got a private one that I still see every day. That was like part of it. I wanted to kind of keep track of it. I found, because she had a stroke and she lost use of her right arm for a long time, and so she couldn't write. But I found like one of the last things she wrote in a journal while we were clearing out stuff. And so I found this, like she wrote like a 4-line little poem, and then I got like a whippet with it because we always had whippets. And because it matched my build and stuff fast.
You're like the whippet of people,
I am kind of a whippet of people because I'm
but also the drug.
But I'm not fast
also
like a
the dog.
greyhound. I'm just the aesthetics of like a fast person, but I'm not ever.
You're like a whippet dog with EDS.
Yeah,
like he
dude.
can't run too fast.
I sit weird.
or
I
else he'll
curl
like
up on a couch.
dislocate his leg.
Dude, it's just
I didn't
a
know
matter
that
of
about
time.
either. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, it's like extended lore. We don't talk about it too much,
DLC.
but
No, thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
What's the one in your other room?
Spork. Too many white guys had yin yang tattoos, and they mean the same thing.
Oh shit! You're right.
Duality.
That's where they got the idea for yin yang.
we had a coworker who was a Latino man who went by Spork.
That's sick.
I was like gonna say more things about grieving, but I think it would just be a whole nother podcast. So we'll have to have you back to talk about all of that stuff.
Would love to.
Well, also, I'll say it. So I don't like watch whatever shit you do, but like
'cause it's boring.
last meals, you like kill them afterward,
yeah, 100%.
Okay, hell yeah, brother.
Actually, no, only Corbin Blue. He was the only one we killed.
dude. I'm so jealous, man.
Every episode.
I love Corbin Blue so much.
Oh, he's like literally the best guy.
I was a big High School Musical guy,
Mm-hmm.
so he was very formative, and I'm just happy to see him thriving.
He really
Too
is.
bad he's
living his
dead.
best life. Too bad he's dead.
Yeah,
Rough.
and that was your
Rough.
fault, but here we are. We're here to forgive you.
Yeah, they say leek is hardest to clean. I would say human bones probably is like a little harder to get
You
clean.
just need to sharpen your boning knife. It'll be fine. Just scrape it.
Like a
If you can
katana.
French it, if you can French trim a lamb chop, you can French trim a human femur.
Corbin Blue.
Corbin Bleu does sound like a degree or like a like Le Cordon Bleu.
Yeah, you studied at
like you
Le Cordon
studied
Bleu.
at Le Cordon Bleu.
If you know culinary well enough, you're able to prepare a cordon
my
bleu.
high school, I forgot to tell you this. My high school had one of the top ranked culinary programs in the country for a high school.
Oh, crazy.
And then so a lot of people went to was friends with all of the culinary kids because they would run a little cafe in
That's
the morning.
sick.
So when
that's
I was
cool.
14, I would go and get coffee made and chat with them because they would just earn a little extra income for the program and stuff like that. And they were all great. And a lot of them went on to become chefs and stuff.
Damn, I wish I had that at my school.
Yeah, it was so cool.
We are very unironically fans of you, though. It is
It's always a pleasure.
We say that like we didn't already know each other. I mean, we see each other relatively often, but I'm often not super equipped to watch friends' content because it is it's a little bit of a dissonance, right? And
100%.
often I'll get around to it, but I have to do a deep breath or something. But a lot of the time you'll just have someone on, I'm like, oh yeah, and just straight to it.
Oh yeah, you had on Sholo Mariduena.
Yeah, Sholo.
And Sholo, he wouldn't remember me, but we sat next to each other at a Magic the Gathering pre-release.
Heads up.
And played some Magic. And that's how I meet cool people. They have to get into Magic, and then I'll sit next to them at some point.
I think he's hosting an MTG thing with Becky Lynch now, also a veteran of the Last Meals.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I hope they
All
talk
thanks
about
to
it.
you, I guess.
Look at
You
me.
should get points on the back end of that show.
Well, Josh, is there anything you want to plug before we kick you out?
Mythical Kitchen Live, April 3rd, 7 p.m. Buy a ticket if you want, or donate to charity. Get outside, touch grass, start doing things that feel actually fulfilling, and don't confuse self-care for just laying in bed scrolling through TikTok. That's not self-care. You're rotting.
True.
That's you plugging that.
But
Alright,
also
yeah.
it's okay to rot a little bit. Just identify it. When it is.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's the bad thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start shaming your audience. We got to do a carrot and the stick situation.
I'll shame
You
him.
know?
We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase. We love you.
And we're sorry.
Boom. This is Civ.
It's definitely a 4. I think it is. It must be
Civilization 4.
Maybe it's just called 4. Gotta be. It's, Europa something.
The
Europa.
fuck?
Yeah.
What the
Europa
fuck is
Universalis 4.
The hell is
I
this?
know. That's great.
What the fuck kind of game is that? That's like that Netflix meme where it's like my Netflix algorithm is messed up and all the games are like floor bars.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it.
Girl, too rich for me.